Yes, peace and love, everyone. Welcome to the African Ways podcast. I hope that everyone is doing fantastic. And of course, on a weekend, that you are going about your grind as usual, or taking some time to rest and be with the family. Some people get to take some time off to also get to travel, and other people just like to kick it back and just be out of the ordinary routine on a weekend. So welcome to this particular episode of the African Ways podcast. My name is Spikes, and we also do have a co-host on this particular show. We do have John Ongo, we do have Matano, we do have KJ Mistari, and we are looking forward to having an informative as well as an engaging show. You can always hit us up on our social media platforms at The African Ways on Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook, which is The African Ways Network, and you can also interact with us also on Instagram at The African Ways Network. And of course, on this particular network, we are all about bringing together people with, different opinions and just getting to build as an African people, whether be it on the continent or even off the continent. We are trying to unify and also build together. So how are you guys doing? We'll start off with John and also Matano and also the late comer, KJ Mistari. Mambo vipi, John?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm good.
How's your weekend coming up, man?
My weekend has been good. A little bit of resting, work here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, and they say some people do say that they do say that people wake up in the morning kwenda kujenga nchi, but others say nie ndeni mjenge, us will do the painting. I don't know if you've had lazy people like that. But Matano, how are you doing?
I'm good.
That's wonderful. We're glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
And for KJ Mistari, vipi man?
Niko poa bro. What's up?
Niko fresh. Yeah, it's all good man.
Niko fresh kabisa.
It's all good. It's all good. Nimesikia umekuwa late kidogo, ulikuwa umeenda kuomba for the rain. I think ulikuwa mahali na intervene.
Not really. Not really. Mashughuli tu kidogo hapa na pale.
Oh, okay, that's good. I want to give everyone an opportunity. Yeah. Paul, for the rude interruption. I want to give everyone an opportunity to just introduce themselves, kidogo, before we start over the broadcast or the show. We start with John again.
Okay, hello guys. Myself, I'm John Angoi. John Angoi is just a young man, a student, Kirinyaga University, and a podcaster also. I'm glad to be here.
Pleasure to have you. And how about Matano?
Hi guys, I'm Immaculate Matano, a student at MKU, also a founder of an organization, Smiles for Life. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Everyone is being brief. we do not have the TMI syndrome, which is a too much information syndrome. You know, some people want to introduce themselves and do a whole lot of a bio. For KJ, manzeploni yako.
Okay, my name is KJ. I'm a media student at Zetech University. Currently year 2, semester 1. Yes.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. We're happy to have you here as well. And of course, for anyone who is joining us for the very first time, my name is Spikes, and I do a whole lot of things. I do get to involve myself with the arts and cultural heritage, curating information on that. I also get to involve myself with branding and digital marketing as well, and so many other things I do on the side. But I do hope that for this particular platform or this particular session, we get to interact with information without having to look at what background someone is specializing in. But welcome to the broadcast, and for those that have been supporting the African Ways Network, we appreciate everyone that has been doing so. And today we shall be discussing an important issue which has to do with homosexuality and also LGBTQ. And there was a case taken to court. There was a case taken to court which had to do with the members of this movement. I might just call it a movement, but which is the lesbian, the gay, and all these other letters of the alphabet. But what has been happening is that they have been agitating for them to be allowed to have their own movement. Or sorry, they have their own association, which is a registered and a recognized, a legally recognized entity, which can be able to operate being with like permission or with the approval by the government. That is what was a case that was being taken to court. And many people, when the Supreme Court did a ruling on this, they said that they should be allowed to have an association for themselves. And also now this goes hand in hand with other efforts that will be following, because once you have an organization or once you have an association, you can be able to agitate for those particular rights as an umbrella body, which is now what they have gotten, and now there is no going back from this. But nonetheless, I would just like to ask, maybe perhaps John or even Matano, anyone can actually just chime in and let me know, what are your opinions about the Supreme Court actually now ruling in favor of this LGBTQ? And do you think now these will also come with other requests? You know, sometimes you get to agree to a request by someone, and then after that, now that opens up another door for other requests and other requests and others, and there is no end to those particular requests. But what are your thoughts? Anyone can go first.
Okay, I'll say this.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't agree with the Supreme Court ruling, because we are currently, like, it is trying to show that we as Africans, actually Kenyans, have accepted westernization, in that whatever those people in those other countries are doing, like, we can do them. And then like, there's that influence that this upcoming generation is going to be affected so much with this thing, because they'll be growing up saying this is what we are supposed to be doing. If, let's say, maybe you come from a family where your mom, let's say you have two moms here, lesbians, so you're like, this thing is okay for me to do it because my mom is also dating another woman, so it is okay for me to do it. So it is not right. Like, it is eroding our culture as Africa, as Kenya.
And I would say this is also coming, I would say it's a pressure from the outside. It's not just an internal, it's not just a Supreme Court right here in Kenya that is now allowing this. I would say there might also be external, there is also external pressure and forces that are also involved in the play. For John, what is your opinion on the Supreme Court giving these permission or allowing the formation of these organizations?
Okay, personally for myself, just like yourselves, I'm totally not for this thing. I feel, like you've said, it's just the beginning and you never know what will come next. So that ruling in itself, it's trying to make something which isn't right look okay. And I think once you start that as a generation, it will grow into a generation and to the future generations too. So I totally don't support it, because as long as you've given them a leeway to start, I'm sure demands itakuja and there'll be even more. So I feel it was a wrong decision, whether it's legislative, but above all, they could have considered our African values and the principles that we hold firm. So I'm totally not for it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Mr. KJ, what is your opinion on the Supreme Court ruling that they gave?
Yeah, man, I'm actually in support of Nasema that, this thing by the Manipata.
Yeah, nakusikia. Go on.
Hello. Okay, Nasema that, our society is not, we're living in a society that is so much, we're living in a society that, it's an African society. We usually have our values, we have the values that we embrace as a society. So something like this coming in is going to erode our culture a lot. So I don't feel like the verdict that the court actually gave out is wise. I don't think so. So they actually need to look upon this, because I'm not so much in support of this. Yes.
I agree with you 100%, because what has been going on is that if you look at even at other countries, you know, what happens is that because of the external pressure I was talking about from the West, you do hear people being labeled as not respecting human rights. For example, for Tanzania, you remember when there was the previous president, his name was John Kapombe Magufuli. What did happen with him is that he was told that for him or for his country to also be given some of these loans, you know, some of these grants that also come, and foreign aid that also come from the West. What he has to do is that he has to allow for human rights, or he has to give, you know, leeway to these human rights, as they were called. And what did happen is that with the opposition, with him opposing, you know, with him opposing this legalization of the LGBTQ, he did face a lot of criticism. Also, in the neighboring country, we have seen in Uganda. In Uganda, you also find the same Museveni also being labeled as a, you know, as a dictator for other different names, because of him not allowing the legalization of these gays in his own country. There is this particular example that has been given, and which is, if you have two men, you know, involved in a union, which is a marriage, and of course they are taken to an island. That is what I was talking to John a little bit earlier. They're taken to an island, and they are left there maybe perhaps for so many years. You know, when you come back there, you'll find them dead, and there will not be perpetuation of that particular life, because, you know, man and man cannot have children. Also, woman and woman cannot have children. And this matter of the LGBTQ being legalized, it has to do with another different agenda, which is also a big agenda on the continent of Africa, because that will have to do with the reduction of the population. Because once you do have now people not having children, you know, that means that the population will now be on a decline. If you have been looking at the statistics of our population growth on the continent, you realize countries like Nigeria, which is Africa's most populous country, it has over 200 million people already. And so maybe in the next, by 2050, I understand the continent will have reached a billion people, over a billion people, because of these population growth, which is because people have followed the traditional way of man and woman marrying. But now, because there is another bigger agenda of wanting to reduce the population on the continent, that is why you're hearing a man being told, okay, this is good, this is that, and it's actually getting crazy. And recently, I don't know if you guys remember about the case of Edwin Chiloba, and how tough people were speaking on Twitter, and they were saying, oh, he has been attacked simply because he's LGBTQ. You know, it's people that are anti-LGBTQ that have attacked him, only for the investigation to come out and see that it was the boyfriend, or I don't know what to call him, the boyfriend who committed that particular kind of this killing or this murder on him. So when it comes to this particular whole issue of the agreement, I also do not agree with it. But I don't know, what were your thoughts on the past matter of Edwin Chiloba? Anyone can respond. Edwin Chiloba and the boyfriend, and how the response was on Twitter. Did you actually follow with that particular story? Anyone?
I don't think I did a follow up on that.
Yeah.
But hii story imekuwa ikisambaa sana kwa mtandao. People actually talking about this all over social media, you know, about Edwin Chiloba. Mara sijui alikuwa ana date jamaa and then akamadwa, you know. So it comes to the sense that, you know, these relationships even don't last, by the way. Yeah. And it's really it's so unfortunate that something like this of the sort is in our society. And it comes with the understanding that, you know, nilisikiza news a while ago, nikasikia she's a US ambassador, a US to Kenya ambassador. She was making things right, akisema that don't get things wrong. You know, what wanasema that this thing about LGBTQ is linked to the food aid that we're having in the country, which is so wrong. Those two things actually don't haziambatani. So it actually, ndo maana watu, you know, out here people are making the wrong whatever verdicts at the food linkage and the matters of LGBTQ zina associate with each other. They don't. It is just that people actually putting the wrong conclusions in things. Yes.
That is I do not know about the interlinkage, but I would say for foreign aid, some of the countries that have been opposed to the LGBTQ being legalized in their country, they are sort of shunned away. And what are your thoughts on that? Did you follow up for Matano? Did you follow up on that whole story with Edwin Chiloba, the gay man who was killed by the boyfriend? Did you follow up, and what did you make out of that whole story?
Yeah, actually, I followed up the story, and we were even having a conversation with my mother, and she was like, people are saying that he was murdered simply because he was LGBTQ, and then others were saying, why didn't they look at the bright side, like he was a fashion influencer and all that stuff, promoting brands. And I was like, Mom, you can be a fashion influencer, but dating a guy, first of all, how are you going to, like, cohabiting with a guy? First of all, it is against our morals. So, like, people saying that it was anti-LGBTQ members who murdered him. First of all, people make assumptions. But when the truth came out, nobody was talking, everybody was silent, everybody was quiet. And even looking at his burial, none of the LGBTQ members attended, because I was following up on the burial, and you see the way people are here that Sijio, I am an LGBTQ community member and all that stuff. Like, we are so sad that Edwin was murdered. We are going to stand with them, but during his burial, those people are not there. So this means that you can be in a group, but when something gets you, it is going to be you personally. So I think the LGBTQ thing is just a no, like, generally.
It should actually be a no, but also, for me, I think there is also the element of a foreign funding. For these LGBTQ movements, some of them are funded. They for them to be going and putting forward that agenda, there is a funding that goes into it. You cannot just go into these they are called activists. These LGBTQ activists. Some of them, I think, are in it for the money, because they are getting some of them like the attention, for one. Some of them like the clout. The attention, the clout, and of course, some of them are also funded. If you're getting some LGBTQ money, you'll find some of these people not even actually being gay or lesbian, but they are there for the money. It's just like you would see with other activists. Sometimes you see an activist on the street, and you think that they are there because they have the interest of other people at heart, but they are there because of that particular money. So I would also say, in case the government also wants to curb, this whole movement, or the government wants to put matters the way they're supposed to be, then they should also look at the funding, because the funding is also another big element when it comes to this particular matter. And apart from that, like you were saying, the LGBTQ also did not turn up to that particular funeral. They did not. There wasn't that big support. And we also do have other people, like I was saying, the request will now be coming up, because first and foremost, once you register as an organization, you can also ask for grants from the government. You can say that we are a marginalized group, and therefore we are a special interest group, and therefore we need funding, or we need money for this and that, because we need to be taken care of in this particular kind of a way. So I was saying, once the Supreme Court has given them this allowance of them having the organization, then the request will not stop coming. There will be many and many. For KJ, Mystery, or John, are you guys fans of Sauti Sol? Anyone can respond.
Okay,
John, are you a Sauti Sol fan?
Okay, not particularly, but I have heard the songs. Yeah, since I'm a Kenyan.
For Matano.
Okay, I won't lie. I'm a fan of Sauti Sol.
Yeah. Their music is jamming, but recently we have seen one of the members over.
Gay Chimano.
I know why.
Go on. Go on. KJ, go on. KJ, you're saying something. KJ, I don't know what KJ was. KJ, you're saying something.
Yeah, Willis Chimano.
Oh,
it's Willis Chimano.
Yeah.
And I was saying, I was talking about.
I'm a super fan of Sauti Sols, opposite Danganya.
Yeah.
I listen to their music. Na nimefuatilia pia lifestyle yao. Najua one of their members is a part of this, community, this association.
Yeah.
Okay, nasema.
Yeah. I can hear you. Go on. I can hear you. Naweza kusikia. Go on. I think we lost our KJ. Yeah. You said you followed up on their lifestyle. Matano, can you hear KJ? Ama it's on my end. Can you hear KJ?
No,
I can't hear him.
I cannot hear him.
Oh, I thought it was on my side. So I think we lost your audio, KJ. I don't know what's going on. Might be the connectivity that might have a hit there.
Nanisikia sasa?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like kuna hii show fulani na Kaminge Maisha Magic.
Yeah.
Inaitwa Soul Generation. Like
okay.
I know
Seems KJ has the T, but the connectivity will not allow.
Okay, so nasema nimefuatilia Soul Generation. There's this show that comes in Maisha Magic inaitwa Soul Generation Family, whereby it showcases lifestyle and everything about them. So I know about this guy anaitwa Willis Chimano. He's a part of the association Lgbtq, and he's come out by the
we're losing your audio.
Unanipata sasa?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go on. We're having a bit of a hit getting you, KJ. So as we see if the connectivity will be any better, I would just like to engage you people on how. Yeah, we can hear you. Try, come again.
There's this show that comes in Maisha Magic Generation. Chimano tunamjua is a part of the coalition of the LGBTQ, and he's so proud of it. I mean, like in one of the interviews I saw, alikuwa anasema that me by that I'm so proud of who I am, like in the society and all that shebang. But again, I'm really trying to do things in the society because we live in a society that is not so much, supportive of this kind of issue, of this LGBTQ.
Yeah.
And it comes with the understanding. Sasa kitu nilikuwa nafikiria sasa mama yake mkoro wake huko nyumbani or maybe his dad, what are they thinking about this?
That's a question also to be asked, because it would be difficult to understand. But I also wanted to engage you guys. There have been so many ways in which this agenda has been promoted, especially using media. People, the West has tried to convert other people into accepting their own culture, which is tolerant over these LGBTQ. First and foremost, I don't know if you guys have realized about the trend that for every movie, especially on Netflix, not just on Netflix, but also on other platforms, even in books, even in cartoons, and in many other art forms, there has been that element of making sure that there is an LGBTQ agenda being pushed there. For example, if you look at the movies, in every movie, almost in the last maybe 2 years, or maybe the last maybe few years, you have noticed that in every movie there has to be some gay characters there. There has to be, women making out, or men making out, or even children being led into this particular direction. That is one of the ways in which this whole agenda has been pushed. Have you guys taken note of this?
Yeah.
For Matano, do you skip?
No, actually, there was even this book that was trending online. Like, it is a page of a book, like a textbook. I think a primary textbook, and it was saying a family can either have a mom and a dad and a child. It can have two moms and a child. It can be a dad and a child. Like, it was more of promoting the LGBTQ concept.
Yeah, and this is being pushed to the kids. It's being pushed to the kids.
Yes.
I think what they have been doing, and I would say this is also a foreign agenda, what has been done really is trying to normalize. If you normalize what you do, once you have images, and there's a way they carry out the propaganda machine. Once you do have images on our books and images also on social media and other platforms that normalize this LGBTQ, then at some point this now goes back to the subconscious of the kid, or not even just the kids, even for adults, it goes back to the subconscious of the adult, and now seems to appear like it's a normal thing. For John, have you noticed also this agenda being pushed full force?
Yeah,
John, are you with
yeah.
us? Yeah.
Yeah, truly. Like when you just like you've said, it's really being pushed as
Yeah.
also the same picture of the book, yeah, Watoto, and it was saying of that thing about a family. I feel as if they're really using not even the mainstream media in a big
Mm,
way. They are big
mm,
on media and they're reaching so many people. No wonder
mm,
so many people are into this thing, you know.
mm,
And as
mm,
you said, as long as people keep seeing this thing, they'll start normalizing it and seeing as if it is normal to be accepted in a society. So I
mm.
really feel they're really dominating, and it's more of what can we do,
Yeah.
about
There
that.
is there is also more confusion being put in into this mix. And I would say personally, I'm not a very religious person, but what has happened recently in the last about 2 weeks, there was the Anglican Church, the Anglican Church of the UK. I think it's in the UK. The Anglican Church also decided that they will be allowing for their priest, for their clergy, to allow the union of two men or two women. I don't know what your thoughts are on the church also uh, sometimes backing this particular agenda. Anyone can respond on the church involvement with the LGBTQ.
I
Okay.
can say,
Yeah.
Okay.
so our churches today are not like, let's say, the church nowadays does not uphold Christianity. Like,
Mm.
religion has been swept away from churches. Like, churches have become a breeding ground for all sorts
Oh,
of,
yeah.
let me say the church is full of hypocrites. Let me say
Yeah.
it like that. Because
Mm.
you cannot be here
Mm.
telling people that you should not engage in this, but your child is
Mm.
engaging in the same thing that you're telling people not to do. Or you're
Mm.
here saying that some things that within the society are
Mm.
are against the Bible. But when you
Mm.
come to look at it in real sense, you're the one who is doing that thing. So the church is full of hypocrites. And
Mm.
first of all, the church promoting LGBTQ, that is the biggest mistake of, let me say, in our generation, because
Yeah.
the church is supposed to guide us. They are not like,
But
they are
the
supposed to be
church,
the guide.
I would say it's like the church has been doing these LGBTQ, and especially, I will not say, I would like to say the Catholic, because in the Catholic, there has been so many cases of boys being molested, in many cases, even in Canada, and even on the continent of Africa, you've had priests or clergymen in the Catholic Church, and not just the Catholic Church, but even others, where you do find that there's a whole lot of sodomy going on, molestation of young boys by these priests, and all these sorts of other activities. They have not, in the past, they have not come out and fully backed this LGBTQ movement. But right now, they are now coming out and saying, no, love, God loves everyone, love is love, and all these other kinds of things. And therefore, a man can also engage in sexual affairs with another man. A woman can also get involved with sexual affairs with another woman and things like that, and all sorts of a perversion, really. But if you have been following closely with the history of the Catholic Church, and it should also be told what has been happening with that particular church. In Canada, they had requested even for an apology, a formal apology by the Pope, because there were schools where they discovered that so many kids had actually been molested sexually, assaulted sexually, and also molested by these in the hands of these Catholic church. But now then coming out and saying, now we shall also allow the marriage, and we shall bless these marriages, quote unquote, bless these marriages. That is also out of, it's crazy. For John, what is your opinion on the church and them also giving their way, putting their weight behind this issue?
Okay, for me, actually, about which about the church, it reminds me. Just yesterday, I was going through my TikTok channel,
Yeah.
and I came across a video of a UK. I think he's a reverend, and he has a doctorate in
Yeah.
theology. He was
Yeah.
justifying how Jesus never condemned lesbianism and gayism, so no one should do the same in this generation. And of course,
Mm.
they're using the same notion about it's about love. You should love everyone.
Mm.
But then
Mm.
at the end of it all, we have our guiding principles, and in as much as he was quoting from the Bible, you can't select a piece from the Bible that works for you and
Yeah.
ignore the rest that condemns whatever you're saying.
Yeah.
So I feel that the church in itself, the church that it's promoting, it's not majorly in Africa, but more in London and UK.
Yeah.
I feel they're just manipulative in a way, using what they're preaching. They are trying to justify embracing this quote unquote sin into their lives, and using the Bible. So I feel the church is failing. Its place is to guide the society, and it's at that place that they're
But
failing.
I
And
would also agree with like what Matano was saying. Matano was saying that the church is also full of hypocrites. That is why you will not find me going to churches and being caught up in all that, because most of the time you find that the same even when you talk about in an unrelated matter, the whole issue of slavery, you would find also the church also very much backing, you know, the enslavement of the African people, like with those popes back then that gave permission to the European to come and enslave African people, and they would actually quote the Bible and make sure that slavery they justify it, just like now they are using, like you're saying, some of the words in the Bible and manipulate or doing whatever they are doing and turning them, making it seem as if it's a rightful thing to do. But for KJ, what is your opinion on the church and these whole, you know, for them backing and putting the weight on the LGBTQ, those that are supporting?
Okay, hizo church za majuu ndo zina propagate this agenda, but the churches ni huko, like most of them they're even using a hashtag, an ongoing hashtag, saying no to lesbianism and gayism, saying no to homosexuality. Seeing those hashtags even going viral on social media. So I feel like hizo tu ni hizo churches za huko majuu. Our churches in the country, most of our religious leaders are even outdoing themselves in making sure that this comes to an end. Yes.
But for the continent, I don't know. Let me ask you someone a rhetorical question, or is not rhetorical. For the UK, or for for the UK and you know, other places in the West, they do have even clergymen who are gay, and they are openly gay. They will come up and say, "I'm the priest for this particular one," but they are openly gay. Would anyone here ever attend such kind of a church?
I can't.
So you're going, your pastor or your priest or whatever, deacon or these other things, they openly profess over their sexuality, and they are very happy and are proud. Because I was listening to an interview on BBC, and I can't really remember. There was a guy who used to be a rock, was he a rock band member? I think he was a rock band member, then converted and left secular music, and now he started life anew, and he became a priest. And then he was openly also gay, and then he was the head of a congregation. And I'm just asking, how are you the head of a congregation and are pushing for these notions of gayism and lesbianism? It does not augur very well. But also the president of Kenya and the deputy president, they have been so much opposed to this whole issue of the LGBTQ. For some people, they say this is a non-issue. Remember when the President Obama came into Kenya, and he was also pushing very hard for LGBTQ. The then president Uhuru Kenyatta said this is a non-issue. This is not our priority. You know, that is a non-issue right here. The current senator for Nairobi, he also said that this is a non-issue. That is Edwin Sifuna. He also said that this is totally a non-issue. People should be focusing on the high cost of living, and they should be focusing on other matters. But at some point, this whole issue will still also pop up. So as we're getting closer to winding up, I think I'll touch on a few other things, and these are on the side. Of the conversation, and these have to do with the cost of living, and it has become quite crazy. You know, look at inflation, look at everything else, and you realize going a bit to the side of the conversation. Edwin Sifuna, I have listened to him a couple of times on interviews. He is actually a very, very brilliant man. And he was saying that this whole LGBTQ agenda is a distraction from the realities on the ground, because the realities on the ground is that the cost of energy is very, very high. If you're talking about electricity or whatever you use for your cooking, the cost of basic commodities, sugar, cooking oil, unga, all these other basic items has gone, blown up. And if you guys remember very, very correctly, there was a campaign promise by the incumbent government saying that if they ascend into power, the cost of living will go down, the cost of unga will come down, and none of these things have actually materialized. So how are you guys coping with this high cost of living? How are you guys? How is it for you?
Even though the cost of living is high, like you just you just have to, let me say, try and put yourself to fit in the level of, let me say, the income that you have. Like, you just fit in there, because maybe, let's say, you used to like living an extravagant life. You purchase things. There are people who normally live on impulse buying. They don't have to write up some shopping list or something so that they can go and get them. They just wake up, I'm going for shopping. They get everything. So like, it's just trying and squeezing in so that you can at least achieve, let me say, 70% of your goal, maybe of yeah.
I would agree with you because if you look at if you're not a proper planner, if you do not know how to plan very, very well for things, then things might become very, very difficult. I've even heard about people, deciding that they might, getting depressed because life is hard to cope with. And especially even young people, maybe you're used to living at a certain level and then things become tough. People now are stressed out. They are depressed. There are no jobs. There are so many other problems are facing this particular country, and not just Kenya, but even go outside the country, you'll find also the same happening for Uganda, for Tanzania, and for other different places on the continent. For John, how are you coping and how are things when it comes to issues of cost of living?
The cost of living, I think it's affecting everyone. We have all felt it. But I think basing on the promises we were given, I just remember a simple quote from Dr. Miles, and he said, the difference between, the problem with most people is that most are not leaders, they're just professional manipulators. And I would say it worked quite well. They manipulated us quite professionally, and the economy is quite different from how they promised it would be. But then I think we have to contend with the situation and live up to it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who is in office, unless you get up and work hard and go and grind, man, this politician won't put no food on your table.
I agree with you 100%. If you remember well, and I wanted to share with us these the promises that were made. And I was looking at a tweet here by the former member of our parliament. His name is Kabando. I can't remember. I think he was a member of a parliament for Laikipia or Nyeri. But he did say that the presidency pledged the following within 100 days of the presidency. Number 1, free secondary education. Number 2, unga for ugali at 70 shillings. Number 3, universal healthcare, universal health coverage. And none of this has been done. And yesterday, or the day before, he has now promised 6 kilograms of a cooking gas will be costing at 300 shillings from 2,800 shillings in 100 days, which of course will not happen. You should not be due to be thinking that you'll buy a 6 kg cooking gas at 300 shillings. These promises have also been made time and over again. But we as a people, I think we should find ways of getting to get through these tough economic times. I'm not really sure. I think budgeting might help. But how are you budgeting even without nothing to budget with? You should have some money at least that you're trying to budget with. But situations are becoming much dire. It might get to a point where people might see the rationality in putting some pressure on the government. But anyhow, we do not want really to delve much on that. I wanted to know from a KJ perspective, but I think we also lost him. But I think for today, we might just come close to the end of this particular show. Maybe unless, John, do you have some remarks or something else that you would like us to touch on before we wind up, or even Matano as well?
Okay, I think let me go first on this. I think the issue on LGBTQ, many have been saying it's a non-issue to Kenya, but I feel it's a problem at hand. And until you come into grips with the fact that it's existent, then you'll never, you won't have the capacity to handle it. So they might be saying it's a non-issue, but then unless they address it in the right way, it will keep dominating. So we can't turn a blind eye saying we have other things to worry about. In as much as we do, let us address this thing the way it ought to be addressed. So I feel leaders are failing in that part. Trying to dodge away from LGBTQ and getting into other things, it's just as important as the Kenyan economy and everything else. That's just my thought.
Okay, thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. And also for Matano, what are your closing remarks? And also maybe if you have any other issue that you'd like to bring up, you're also welcome to do so.
For me, I would like to say that we as the millennials, we are the ones who, because we see that the people who we look up to already are accepting some things that are really affecting us, I think we're the ones who are supposed to stand up and fight this thing. But since most of us are, after seeing that the people we're looking up to are accepting these things, we also get ourselves doing the same things as they are doing. So, like, at least let it not be that the whole population of the millennials are accepting. Like, it's like your mother is telling you, go and stand in the middle of the road and get knocked down by a car. Definitely you're not going to stand because you love your life. So let us at least, let me say, if 20% of the millennials decide on going for LGBTQ, this 70% can, when you have a majority in numbers, like trying to beat is going to be difficult. So like we as the millennials are the ones who are supposed to be looking for ways on how we can kick this thing out. Like, let us not absorb or accept everything that these our seniors are saying.
I would agree with you 100%, and I would also wind up with saying that I believe the mind is the biggest battlefield. If you let your mind be manipulated, if you let your mind get caught up in this whole propaganda and all these other agendas are being just shoved around, then we are actually the ones to end up losing. They have tried using all sorts of avenues, social media, anywhere that you can find information from. They have made sure that they are loading information which would actually make you normalize or think that LGBTQ is actually the thing, or it actually should be the normal, which actually isn't. Even in nature, if you look at nature, go to the forest or go to, you will not find two male lions, being involved, in any kind of a sexual way, or even for other animals, So if it does not happen in nature in that particular kind of a way, why should we now be actually making it seem as if it's normal? Go to even if you go to a national park and see the animals, it does not happen even with the animal kingdom in that particular kind of a way. So why should we also accept the same? And nonetheless, I want to thank you so much, John, for being with us, taking your time to join us today. And also for Matano, thank you so much for being with us. I would say we shall hope to continue, having these conversations, as well as even letting you guys speak more. I think napiga mdomo sana, but I'll also be letting you guys also speak more and just let us know what it is. So thank you so much, and I want to wish everyone watching a very happy and a productive weekend. Whatever your endeavors are, I just want you to wish the best, and maybe in the subsequent episode, Matana, you shall be telling us more about your organization, also for John, your programs with the youth. We do hope to hear more from you in that particular regard. For now, I want to wish everyone happy and a productive time. And once again, I would say thank you for now. It's a kwaheri, unless anyone has anything else to add.
No, just wish you also a good weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much for John. Anything?
Blessed weekend, family.
Then
everyone.
we're good. Yeah. We're good. We're good. And thank you to everyone that has tuned in for those supporting the African Ways podcast. Thank you so much. We hope to catch you on another subsequent episode. For now, much peace and love. Peace out.